Welcome to Coffee and Cleavage.
Welcome, everybody.
I'm Lynnie.
And I'm Shantal. And
And
with us is Gary.
hello, Gary.
Hey, how are
Good
you guys?
morning.
Good, how are you?
Good.
We totally forgot to cheer. We're so off.
We're off.
Oh, fuck it.
Fuck it.
Fuck it. Should that be our new mantra? Just fuck it. Can be taken so many ways.
I know.
Gary's like,
I
I'm
say
only
a
taking
lot.
it one way.
I say it a lot.
Yes, I do too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, fuck. Well, we've talked about relationships quite a bit on this podcast. Quite a bit. But we thought we would revisit this one.
Yes.
Little-
Good versus bad relationships, red flags.
Yeah. We should have thrown some dicks in there too. Because I feel like whenever we throw dicks in, people are like, yes, they're there for the dicks. Oh, just kidding. I'm actually totally not kidding. People like it when we talk about their dicks.
They do.
I know. What is up with that?
What is up with that?
Oh,
I don't know. But I don't know. A lot of us have these ideas of what our red flags are. Like, what are red flags? And is it something that you just run away from immediately, or do you just take a mental note? What do you think?
I think it depends, you know. I think I don't know. I feel like you kind of feel it early on, but sometimes you don't always see it until
you
later
ignore
on.
it.
Yeah, or you ignore it, thinking, oh, okay, maybe it'll just
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal.
yeah.
Yeah.
how many red flags does it take for you to be kind of in that mindset where you're like, okay, this is too much? I mean, because I guess
Well,
it's small red flags compared to big ones. You're like, wow, this guy's kind of a fucking dick to waiters. I don't like that.
Yeah.
well, I
One.
mean, I've been on I think I've shared, and I'm sure I have, on one of our bad date episodes. I've been on a date with someone where there was so many red flags during that date where I'm like, I'm never talking to this guy again.
Yeah, you're like, no callback on this one.
Yeah. So many.
How did you get out of that date? Did you just finish the dinner and just say, okay, thanks, bye?
Yeah, we finished the dinner and then it was in the parking garage. It was just bad. He was a dick to the ballet guy.
Ugh.
And luckily I drove myself. So he just walked me in my car and that was it. I'm like, fuck.
She's
That
like,
was
bye.
horrible.
Thanks for the terrible fucking time, asshole.
Yeah.
Imagine if you
Seriously.
said that. That would be so hilarious.
I know. It'd be
I would
great.
love to have a camera on you while you said that to someone.
I'd love to say that to someone.
Because that's just so fucked up.
Yeah, I know.
But what if, okay, so scenario, what if that was the red flag, but then everything else is great?
What if that was just the
I mean,
one?
yeah.
Well, there was more than that during
But
the
what
dinner.
if there wasn't? I mean, could you get past that and be like, okay, he's kind of a fucking dick to people, but I'll let that go?
I think that's a big one to me, is when someone treats other people with disrespect and, kind of like they're above them. I don't like that.
Yeah.
That's a huge turnoff to me.
Yeah. I've even seen that in other people's. I've been with friends and their boyfriend or whatever
Yeah.
is talking down to people. And I'm just like, it almost
Yeah.
makes me turned off to the friend too.
It's
You're seriously,
embarrassing.
you're with somebody who's literally talking shit about wait staff or
Yeah.
being rude. It is super embarrassing. I'm embarrassed and I'm embarrassed for my friend.
I've
you know?
apologized to people before for it.
I
I'm
have
so
too.
sorry for that. I'm so sorry. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I'm so
'Cause
sorry about
it's-
that.
yeah.
You're apologizing for someone because you're so fucking embarrassed that they're such
Yeah.
a piece of shit.
I think it shows a lot
Fuck.
about a person when they can be rude super easily, because I'm all about being, wait staff, super nice.
Yeah.
Till if they do something they're a fucking dick to you. It's all about I'll treat you how you treat me, kind of.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. I've been mistreated by wait staff before, and I usually just let it go versus treating them badly back.
You want something
Just
in your
because
food.
well, yeah, lots of things. Plus I've been a waiter before. I've had people treat me like shit. And sometimes somebody will treat you like shit and then that rubs off on you for the rest of the fucking day and then you have a bad attitude and then other tables get mad at you. And it's just kind of it's like fucking
Yeah.
dominoes, the domino effect. And it's just so much energy. I would
Yeah.
rather just eat my meal, pay my check, and fucking leave.
Yeah.
Obviously, if they're a super dick, I'm not gonna leave like a nice tip.
Yeah.
But
They
I've
already
never
spit in your
not
food.
left a
It's cool.
tip. I just like feel strongly against that. You know, some people are like, I'm not leaving them a fucking tip. They were an asshole. I'm like, you
Yeah.
know, it's
I've not
tough.
left people tips before. If they're a
Yeah.
fucking dick, like, I mean,
Yeah. It's tough, but I think I agree. That's like such a big one for me. Like, don't mistreat people who you think are lesser than you. And they're not. They're just fucking people working their jobs, you
Yeah.
know? And the valet, too. Oof. That would have fucking been like icing on cake. You're like, goodbye. Never see you again.
Yeah. Exactly. It was horrible. Just fucking dick.
For me, that would be that would be like a never second date for sure.
so that's
Mm-hmm.
100% deal breaker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
If
I
you
believe
are talking
so.
to someone online and it's all great and you go meet in person, you're like, he's kind of fucking rude. This, like, the wait staff, and, you know, like, you could tell you would be like, okay,
Yeah,
done.
Yeah. And okay, let's just say you gave it another shot because like you said everything else was amazing but that one thing, but then you notice it again maybe on a second date, then you're like, okay, 2 times I'm out.
yeah,
That's especially in the beginning, you know.
yeah. The whole fool me once,
Yeah.
fool me twice
Yeah, I just don't
scenario.
like that.
Yeah,
It
I
says a lot
agree.
about them.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I would say is just like either constantly arguing over little things. Have you ever had somebody where every single thing you
Yes.
say to them, they try to argue and be right?
Yes.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
my God.
Yeah.
It's
It's like a
exhausting.
competition.
Yes.
I was with someone who was in law school. Oh, talk about argument. He just would like to pick an argument
He's
over.
practicing.
Yeah, he was
law.
practicing on me. And I'm not one who likes to argue at all. Like, I mean, I know it happens, a little bickering here and there.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not typically the person that likes to argue. I hate conflict. I try to avoid it.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm not about that.
So would it be over anything like just small trivial stuff that he would try to argue or get his point across?
It's almost like he was just trying to start an argument, you know?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. He was really practicing for the fucking courtroom.
Yeah.
That's fucking weird.
It was
That is
weird.
super weird.
Mhm.
Did he use his like lawyer voice too? I'm trying to imagine.
Why do you feel that way?
That sounds like a therapist. Uh, like where they're asking for facts and dates and times and then trying to trip you up.
Just yeah, it did come off very much like if I'm sure I mean, when you're in law school, that's all
Well, you
your
can
life.
Like
argue everything
interrogating.
too. So I
Yeah.
mean, you could say
Yeah.
something, you could argue against that, and it's like, okay, I'm fucking done with this
Yeah.
shit. Like,
Yeah.
courtroom. I could just imagine two personalities that are kind of like, not like in, like, you kind of both want to be right. It's just clashing the whole fucking time. It's like, okay, no one's taking the high road here.
Yeah.
That just seems like a disaster.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It wasn't that part wasn't fun.
No, I haven't dated someone like that, but I've had like a friend like that before that's like always constantly like you say something and they're like looking it up to try to prove you wrong. I'm like, ugh, can you not do that? Like every single thing that you say, they're like Googling. Like that's the answer. It's like, oh,
Yeah, that's
please
annoying.
fucking stop. That's a huge red flag to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's annoying for sure.
No, thank you.
Know-it-alls. Can't stand that either. Mhm.
Moving too fast too soon. I think that is a red flag for me. Like just way over the top.
So is moving too, I mean, obviously, but too fast compared to too slow? Because I think they're both
Yeah, they're
kind of
both
red flag.
bad.
I guess kind of red flags, but moving too fast would be way worse.
I think
I would
so.
assume for you guys at least.
Mhm.
I would rather it be too slow than too fast.
Yeah.
You know, obviously you
Definitely.
don't want it like a snail, like, oh, you're like, oh my God, are they even actually interested in this going further? But at the same time, it's like, I would rather take the cautious road than just like the 100 speed road.
Yeah.
You know, like where people are literally like meeting and then dating and then living together all within like, you know, a matter of weeks or a couple
Yes.
months. You're like, no.
Yep. Mhm. It's like the saying, don't rush a good thing. I totally think that's
I was thinking
ideal.
first date kind of more almost. I mean, like kissing first date, if you know
Oh,
or not
Mhm.
know. I mean,
I feel like no for me personally. Like
For
I'm not.
kissing on a first date?
Yeah.
I think it depends on the vibe. Maybe
Yeah.
you guys are just like have this crazy sexual chemistry right off the bat, and then
Yeah.
maybe you're just feeling it and you're like,
Or
Yeah.
if you've
Have you
been
ever had that?
talking for
Yeah.
like a long time before,
Yeah.
I feel like there's
Yeah.
several like kind of scenarios, but if you literally like just got like matched up and like it was
Yeah.
your first time meeting
Oh,
and
yeah.
you've never talked before, then I feel like that's a lot of pressure,
That
you
is,
know. But
yeah.
if you already have a connection, you've been talking, you've been texting, that kind of stuff, then I feel like it's a little bit of a different scenario.
Mhm.
We always say this. There's so many like
I know.
so
On the
many. It's
situation.
because
Yeah.
it's like stuff is not so black and white.
Yeah,
You
it's
know, like
not.
Yeah.
people almost want like hard rules to live by. You know, like everybody's like, "Oh, like tell me what should I do?" And it's like there's like so
You have to be
many
in the
possible
moment. Yeah.
answers.
Exactly.
You know, there's not like one right way for everyone.
Mhm.
But I always say like trust your intuition, and usually your intuition is pretty spot
Oh,
on. Like if
yeah.
you have a bad
Definitely.
feeling about someone or it doesn't feel right, it's probably not right for you.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know, ignoring that little feeling is probably going to do more harm than good.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
Trust your gut.
Trust it
Mhm.
and know what you want. And that's so fucking hard because most people don't actually know what they want. They like
I
have
know.
this idea of what they want, but they don't actually know like what that looks like. You know, a lot of people don't want to put like they're focusing on what it is they want without like turning it around to themselves and being like, okay, what do I need?
Yeah.
You know, versus just like the outside, like, oh, I want like somebody who does this and this and this and this. And it's like, well, what do you want out of that?
Mhm. Definitely. Um, do red flags mean to run or watch closely?
Depends.
Yeah, it really depends.
Sometimes I say run.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that happen? Well, you did have that happen. You had that guy and you went on the date and you were like, never again.
Mhm. Mhm.
I
I
mean,
ran.
yeah, you ran. You probably walked to your car,
Yeah,
not ran.
I did.
But if he would have had a knife, then you
Yeah.
probably would have ran.
Have you ever had any super big red flags, Chantel? Like that?
I mean, I've had the weight one before, like being on a date where somebody was just a complete fucking asshole, or you know, like like all of a sudden doesn't have like money, or like oh can you get this? You're like, wait,
That's
what?
Oh, I've had that too, where the bill sits there and I'm like, I've had it before. It sat there for so long. Finally, I'm like, I guess I'm getting this one.
Was he like, oh shoot, okay?
Which, okay, I have no problem paying for my meal. It's totally
No.
fine. But when someone like wants to take you out to dinner, and I just think it's the gentleman thing to do, unless you're the one planning the date and you want to take them out,
Yeah.
you know?
Then
I
it's a
don't
little
know.
bit different. But they're like, hey, do you want to go out? And here's where we're gonna go. And then all of a sudden, like, oh, my wallet. I think I left it in the car. It's just like,
That's super
okay.
weird. Because personally, for me, I would never let a girl pay, even if she kind of hinted going, because it would just feel weird. Because it almost feel like to me like they're the man. It's weird.
Yeah.
You ask me and you pay. It's like
Yeah.
that's. I would be like, no, I'll pay.
I've been with
So
a
that would
guy before
be.
that wanted to split all the time. Like, okay, let's split this. And it was weird because we were actually together. We weren't just,
It wasn't just a
dating.
date. Like,
Yeah.
were you living together too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was weird. And he had way more money than me at the time. It was weird. Cheap
I mean,
ass.
I mean, I have done that before too, but it is like, but you said he had way more money. Like I've been
Yeah,
in a
than me.
situation where I'm like broke and poor and I'm with somebody who's broke and poor and
Yeah.
we're living together and we split everything.
Yeah.
And
That's different.
even then it was like it was still tough.
Yeah.
You know, because I was just like, "Ugh," like, oh my God, like I know they have $100 more than I have right now. You know, like shit.
Yeah.
But if the person had way more money and they were still like, "Ugh, no, like never paid for anything ever, like not
Just
even events or activities.
I mean, they would, but I just remember that that was like a huge thing to me. It always stood out was going out to eat, and he'd either want to split a meal or split
The price.
the price.
Like
Yeah.
split the meals and
Like
let's
share
split
it.
this salad.
Yeah, and sometimes I
That's
just want my own. Like, what if I don't want what you want? I want to order my steak medium well. What if you want rare?
we'll
You know
get
what I
Yeah.
one
mean?
drink and
Like,
split it.
Yeah.
I think that's the
One
worst
drink.
thing to do is come off as fucking cheap.
He was so cheap, and I cannot stand dating a guy that is like that.
Cheap.
Well, do you
Yeah.
think you want to come
Yeah.
off as not like, hey, I can buy anything, like, but you don't want to come off as, hey, like, do you want to split this and like we can split the bill too? It's like a fine medium in there.
Maybe, I don't know. I think it just depends on the
Yeah.
situation. Like, I don't mind splitting stuff.
Yeah.
But like you said, sometimes you want your own thing, you
Yeah.
know? For me,
Yeah.
sometimes I just don't want to eat that much food. I'm like, do you want to split this? Because I'm
And
like
that's
not that
fine.
hungry.
That's
But like
totally
when you're out
fine.
going on a date, I feel like it's a little bit
Well, I'm not
different.
talking you've been in a relationship for a while. I'm talking new stuff. I mean, someone
Okay.
asks you and you're on your second date and it's like, hey, you want to split this with me? Wouldn't that be weird? Like split the check.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm leaning to. It's
Yeah. It's,
Mhm.
I don't know. It's kind of like,
kind of feel like, am I not worth it?
I'm kind of independent to where I'll be like, I'll pay for I'll just pay for mine separately. You know, unless they were like taking you somewhere, they were like asking you to go somewhere really expensive. You said
Well,
this guy made
yeah.
more money than you. So was he taking you to like fancy ass places and then splitting the check with you?
I mean, not fancy ass places because he was cheap. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I feel like
Yeah.
if a girl is doing that, hey, let's go, like let's go to dinner. We should go somewhere nice. Oh, let's go to Mastro's. It's like you're paying. Then it's like if you're feeling like you're gonna use, but me personally, I'm always kind of like I'd take you out. I want to pay. Not,
yeah.
hey, let's split this. Okay, it's fuck, this is being expensive. Let's split it. It's just that'd be very awkward for me to do ever.
Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
never do that. Like,
Oh,
hey, here's
guys do that. They
hey,
do.
do you want to like send me Venmo like 100 and something bucks? It would just be so awkward to ever do
Yeah,
that. I
that would be
couldn't.
pretty weird, especially if you had
Venmo
asked them
request
out
them.
just after the date because you don't want to say anything. They just send you like $106 dinner question mark.
Yeah, for that
It'd be like
steak.
you fill out the check and like thank you, and it's like, hey, did you check your phone? And it's like Venmo request.
That'd be fucking hilarious. That's terrible. Oh my god. So I think that like communication, it kind of sounds like in some of these instances, maybe some of these guys couldn't afford to or just didn't want to like take you like pay for the date.
Yeah,
What the fuck?
I know.
Some people are just cheap. I think that's a
Yeah.
turn off when you're like trying to haggle too. I feel like that's something that I've seen. Like, what the fuck? Why are you
Well,
haggling with people?
think about
Yeah.
it. I mean, if you don't have the money, don't go on a fucking date. Do
Yeah.
something cheaper. If you do, if you ask someone out, be the fucking man and pay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's just
If
how I
you
look
don't
at
have
it.
the money, maybe offer to make dinner or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or take her to Chipotle.
Oh yeah, you could do that too.
Or be
I
like,
was like,
hey, you want to go on a date? Like, as in we don't spend any fucking money. I mean, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, you could easily do that. Not like, hey, let's go to this fine steakhouse. I mean, there's so many ways you could do stuff differently. I
There's
think.
so
Yeah.
many. And like a lot of guys, I've seen this actually in our YouTube comments, people saying like, oh, well, like it's so impossible to take women out because they have such high expectations. They want to be taken stuff.
That is
Well,
not true
that's so
all the
not
time.
true.
No.
And also, I feel like work within your means. So if
Yeah.
you can only afford to take somebody on a picnic date, only take them on a picnic date.
Yeah.
If you can only afford Chipotle, fucking go to Chipotle.
Yeah.
You know, like, or like you said, spend, $40 and make dinner.
Yeah. Exactly.
Whatever the case is, but don't offer above like what you're capable of or what you want to do.
And then be like, yeah.
And then bitch about it later.
You want to split this? Or just let the bill sit there.
Yeah, or like fuck her. I took her on a steak dinner and
Yeah.
she didn't want to split it with me and now I just spent all this money. Well, don't ask her out to a steak dinner,
Yeah.
It's like knowing what you want, being clear, being consistent,
It is crazy though how some people you don't know how they are until you like get to go out with them a few times and you're like, damn.
You're like, ooh, dodged a bullet.
Yeah, lose my number.
I'll lose my number. All of a sudden you change your number. That's terrible. I would totally do that.
I would too.
Oh my God. Do you think that you can learn to be passionate about somebody if there's no chemistry at first? Say you go out on the dates, everything's good, you have fun, but there's like no sexual chemistry. Do you think that it could still lead to good chemistry later? Or would you just stop?
That kind of sounds like someone you'd end up being a good buddy with, maybe.
Yeah.
Good pal.
Good fuck buddy. I'm just kidding.
Or just a friend. I don't know. You
Yeah,
know?
just a friend.
That just
Yeah.
sounds like someone you're not attracted to, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you're attracted to them, I feel like you're going to be sexually attracted to them. If you're not, if you don't feel like that, you're kind of not going to be attracted to them physically.
Yeah.
But I do think you're right. I do think it can I can change, over
Yeah.
time. Some people do grow attraction toward people that they never were attracted to in the beginning. That
Yeah.
is
Yeah, I think so
true.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it can go both ways too.
Mhm.
Like you said, like you go and you have fun together and then you end up being attracted to each other.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. Like I've been on dates to where like it was great, it was good, but it wasn't like there wasn't anything extra,
Mhm.
and so then I just didn't continue.
Yeah.
That's what sucks about dating. You can go on something and be like, it was really fun. Like, we had so much fun. It's just it wasn't there for one person. It's
Yeah.
just like, oh hey, like was it not there for you? It's like, no. Like
I always
okay.
hear that on the radio, people calling in, and I'm like, that would be so embarrassing. Like, call into the radio and they're like, oh, I went on this date
Oh
and like I
yeah.
never got a call back. And so then they call the person and ask him why they didn't call them back. I'm like, that would be so terrible. They're like, oh, well,
would.
there just wasn't anything. It was okay.
Mhm.
And it's like,
That's where
Shit.
like I mean you think it should be more straight up, like, hey, we went out. Do you want to go out again or not? No, I don't really see you like that. Okay,
move
cool.
on,
Fucking
save time.
thanks, I guess. Take me a little bit to get over this, but I mean,
It's better than dragging it
I
on,
guess for
yeah.
some
probably.
people that can't take a hint, Some people can't take a fucking hint.
Yeah, that's very
And then you
true.
have to be more, I guess.
Blunt.
Yeah. That's hard
Well,
to
they
be
also
blunt.
think, because some girls are like, I like persistency, so fucking annoy the shit out of me. And if you keep doing that, then I'll kind of like that eventually.
And some people also love like the drama and the toxicity,
Yes,
They
some people
like
do.
they want
Mhm.
that like love bomb. They want you to fucking call them 100 times.
Well, it's hard because you see movies and it's like the girl's leaving and then the guy's like, oh, I'll chase you down. They're like, oh my God, you did that. And, like, I've done that and it doesn't work. Like, like
You've chased
seriously.
somebody down.
Well, like, not exactly, but I mean, like, we're like, all
Yeah.
right, she's not calling me back. Maybe she wants me to go over to her house. No,
Oh
she doesn't.
God, no, she
Don't
does
do that.
not.
Do not do
If
that.
she doesn't call you back, do not show up at her house unannounced.
No.
Red flag.
I've done
Sorry,
that and it was
Gary.
so awkward. I'm like, all right, this was a bad idea.
Was this like before social media, I hope?
It was a while ago, but it's like, you're kind of just like, well, maybe this will show her more. Like, okay, I'm really into this. And it's just
Yeah.
like, I feel like girls are never
Mhm.
like, hey, I'm not calling him, but I want him to come over. It's like, don't. Just don't.
Don't
No.
take the
Mm-mm.
advice from Gary. Don't.
It was the one time I did that and I'll never do that again.
How did she react? Just curious.
I mean, it was fucking awkward because I went over there and like literally knocked on her door and she like opened it and was like, what the fuck are you doing here? And I was just like,
Does she have another
Uh,
guy there?
maybe.
That's
And I
probably
was
what it
just,
was.
I'm not but like she was a fucking huge bitch too. And I was like, all right, cool. And I just like left and I was like, that's my cue to move the fuck on. And then I moved
Yeah.
on. So if you
Yeah.
need to move on, maybe do that. But that was,
Brutal closure.
That is
yeah.
brutal. What the fuck are you doing here?
What
Jesus,
I know.
are
that
you
is.
doing
like,
here?
fuck you then. Guess you didn't want me to come over.
That must have been obviously before Ring
I-
doorbells. Because
Yeah.
now I just look at the camera because people knock on the door all the time, like, solar panel people.
Oh my
And
fuck.
I just, I'm not answering the door.
Yeah, I'm not
Go
answering
away.
the door. You just talk to them through the ring.
Yeah, yeah,
Please leave.
yeah. I love having that. It's so nice.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Well, that is some closure, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Well, as always, trust your gut. I
Yeah.
think it's important to pay attention to red flags,
Mhm.
listen to yourself, don't ignore things that you know are not right, and probably don't go show up at somebody's house unannounced when they haven't responded to your text.
Learn from Gary.
Unless you just really want to, then just do it.
No, don't do
It's
it.
not like the movies, guys.
No, it's really not.
Mm-mm.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for listening.
Yes, please like, rate, and
Subscribe.
yeah, give us 5 stars.
Visit coffeeandcleavage.com to share with us if you have any embarrassing closure stories you'd like to share.
It'd be fun to read those.
Yeah, it
wouldn't it?
would.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yeah.
guys. Cheers.
Cheers.